If you're new to fasting, or maybe you've tried it before but you're struggling to see results, honestly, I'm not surprised. There is so much mixed information trying to sell you something. Fasting Tube is independent and focusing on real information. Let's get started with today's video.
The question, why do I have no appetite after fasting for weeks and then binge eating? I'm very much in favor of healthy eating habits and healthy body image. I want to preface my answer with that first. However, I'm less inclined to send you straight to a doctor than the other answers below. Fasting can be physically, psychologically and spiritually healthy. It's not necessarily a sign of disorder. You should ask yourself why you are fasting. For self-discipline? As a spiritual practice? To explore your body's reaction and have a better awareness of your body? To lose weight? I'll even allow the latter as a reasonable justification, provided that fasting, overall, is placed in a proper perspective. Everything in life is an opportunity to improve or to hurt yourself, eating too much and eating too little, both. During Lent I have, in the past, pursued what some would consider extreme calorie deprivation. The primary reason was for religious observance, but an experiment in self-discipline also entered the equation, and I would be lying if I said I didn't hope I would lose some weight. I remember specifically one Lent my fasting consisted of eating a very small breakfast, for example one piece of toast, nothing for lunch, and a small dinner Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I was basically constantly hungry on those days, but I considered that feeling to be a nagging reminder of my mortality, my spiritual responsibilities, and the reality that some people less fortunate than I live with this hunger constantly. I probably, like you, averaged around 500 calories a day on those days, and while I ate more on other days, I still ate less than I would have outside of Lent and was at least somewhat hungry. Sunday, I ate to satisfaction. I often found that on Sunday, my appetite was less than I expected. I might be very hungry, but would be full much quicker than during periods of normal eating. I do believe that your stomach can contract with a moderate amount of deprivation, or maybe it is in your head, but the result is very real. After fasting, you'll often find that you eat less when you do allow yourself to indulge. So now on to your 3 days of binge eating. Can you help us place this in context? Was it a breakdown of your hitherto Spartan self-control? Did you eat emotionally and, you might say, irrationally, eating until you threw up? Did you enjoy it, or was it a sort of self-inflicted food torture? Was it binge eating Krispy Kremes, or something more healthy? No matter what you were binge eating, even if it was chicken breast and salad, your body gets a bit of a shock when you go from deprivation to plenty. I've read, maybe someone else can confirm or deny, that Allied soldiers quickly learned at the end of World War II not to give chocolate bars to recently liberated concentration camp survivors, because many died, presumably from some kind of sugar shock, following their prolonged food deprivation. I'm not in any way comparing your self-inflicted situation to this awful historical moment, just making a biological point. Your body may very well be going what the hell? Following your deprivation/plenty 180-degree experiment. It's often the case for me that following a vacation or holiday where I've indulged constantly in pasta, wine, desserts for several days, I'll have a very small appetite for days afterwards. I think this is normal and healthy. We haven't always had unlimited quantities of food. Humans lived and evolved for thousands of years under conditions where we swung between feast and famine. The hunt is successful, there is meat for everyone, and we ate what we could to put on fat for the winter. The harvest is bad, we tightened our belts. Only in the last, say, 100 years has constant access to unlimited calories become a reality for a large portion of the world's population. I'm glad that we live in a world where fewer and fewer people starve to death. I'm in no sense nostalgic for the uncertainty of the past. But it's worth noting that eating 3 meals a day to complete satisfaction is not, historically speaking, a necessity for survival and good health. That's my philosophical, theological and historical high-minded answer. It's also possible that you just have an eating disorder. In which case you should see a doctor.